Ja, und damit herzlich willkommen zurück zu einem neuen Stream hier. Ich mache mal eben Vollbild, so, damit das nicht mehr so bescheuert aussieht. Es ist eine Weile her, seit der letzte Stream kam, ist einiges zwischendurch passiert, aber dadurch darum soll es heute nicht gehen. Ich check nochmal ganz kurz was, bevor ich hier in Vollscreen gehe. So. Okay, schön, dass das nicht funktioniert, aber egal. Sei es drum, dann funktioniert das halt jetzt nicht. Ich muss mal gucken hier. Okay, alles klar. Okay, in 30 Sekunden geht's los. Ich mach mal voll. Achso, Grüße zurück, by the way. So, ich sollte den Ton vielleicht auch anmachen und meine eigene Musik ausmachen. So. Stuhlschaltung aufheben. Auf geht's!
Hello there and welcome to another episode of Forza Horizon 5 Let's Go, live with Playground Games. Today we're going on quite the epic adventure, the Horizon adventure in fact, but first, let's do the schedule. So don't let this schedule fool you because there is a whole lot of new gameplay to see as Playground takes us through the early stages of the single player campaign. And you might as well start limbering up those fingers to get your questions into chat for another round of Q&A. In fact, here's a tip. There's a better chance to see your question if you start typing it now during the show instead of saving it until the end. So get your questions in chat now, everybody. And with that said, I think it's time to welcome today's wonderful guests. Hello, how are you doing? First up, we've got Mike Brown. It is always wonderful to see you, but first of all, what is this new location you're in? Sorry, what's going on?
Hey Charlie, great to be here. This is actually not a new location. This is actually the Forza Horizon offices. It's just up until this point we've been doing our Forza Horizon 5 Let's Go streams from the Fable office on the other side of Leamington Spa. The reasons for that are boring. We won't get into those. But yeah, this is actually the Forza Horizon office. This is where we actually make the games.
Sicherheitshalber.
We're in the home of Forza now, and joining you on the sofa today is the lovely Ben Thaker-Fell. Ben, what are we going to be seeing today then?
Hey Charlie, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive on the single player campaign for Forza Horizon 5. Really excited to show that off.
We're going
to talk about the kind of main goal of it, how it works mechanically. We're going to get stuck in, unlock some stuff, and just kind of talk our way through it. Really exciting stuff.
I can't wait. And lastly, you may have seen a glimpse of him then, but we do have Marco Conti joining us, who seems to have leveled into a full rig just for this show. How are you doing, Marty? Marco, is that a flex on Andy, by the way, I have to say?
Hi, Charlie. Pleasure to be here. This is actually my desk. So today I'm going to be talking about
Schöner Arbeitsplatz.
Enough. I'm going to talk about like what we improved in the handling for Forza Horizon 5.
I can't wait. And I feel like I have to ask, purely based on his performance on the last stream, between you and Andy, who would win in a race? Real talk.
I'm going to say him, but I'm lying, so it's fine.
Right, you had me in the first half. Wonderful. Well, as I said, on the last show, if you were able to catch it, we showed the initial drive and the very first showcase event. So we're going to set the scene now. Today we're going to be playing on the Xbox Series X as always, but where are we jumping in first?
Yes.
Das ist ein bisschen weird, es ist ein bisschen asynchron heute der Stream, keine Ahnung warum. Es ist nicht mein Stream, es ist den ihr Stream. Zumindest ist er bei mir asynchron.
There is actually a Horizon story chapter that you do after that, which we're not going to jump in today. We're going to pick up right after that and look at the campaign, at what happens after that, and all the great things that you will get to experience as you play through Forza Horizon 5.
Can't wait.
Ben, should we jump in?
Yes. So, but first we are going to look at the campaign. I've got a controller, I'm going to walk through things, but let me talk about the setup first. Really, like, what is the campaign in Forza Horizon 5? So, its name, Horizon Adventure. And that's exactly kind of how we think about it internally, and I'm sure that's how players really remember this one. It's all about freedom. It's all about the choice of doing what you want, when you want. Previous kind of Horizon campaigns have said, you're going to do this gameplay now, road racing, because we think that's the best at this stage in the game. And now you're going to do some cross-country or some off-road, or we're going to introduce skills and stories. this campaign has kind of thrown most of that out of the window, apart from the kind of early setup that Mike spoke about. And it's largely said, you tell us what you want to do, and we'll give you the tools to kind of make that happen, but in a much more interesting way than we've maybe previously done. And the interesting way is the adventure. So I am going to go to a screen that kind of summarizes all of that. But just before I do, I will say, goal of the game in the Horizon Adventure is to get onto the Hall of Fame. The game doesn't end there. Tons and tons of content. And to get to the Hall of Fame, you have to earn something called accolades, and we'll go into those in a second. But let's have a look at the adventure screen really quickly, because this is one of my favorites. Look at that.
Oh,
how
that
cool
is
is
so
interessant.
colourful. Look at
Nice
that.
driving, lol.
Sorry, I'm trying to be professional here, but genuinely, that is incredible. I love it.
Das ist gut.
Tons and tons of fun. Loads going on. Let's have a quick walk through. I mean, I'm getting distracted. Balloons at the top there, cable car, blimp, cars.
We were really excited to see the game map. And we were like, yeah, we'll show you the game map. And we were holding this in the bag. This is like we showed the game map ages
I mean, chat
ago,
has
we were
just
holding onto this.
exploded with the words, it looks amazing, it's cute, they love it, so clean. So nice work from chat immediately.
Right, let's have a let's have a look.
Hier
at
sieht
what
man
you
die
can do.
ganzen
When I speak about going on
Festivals.
an adventure and giving players the tools to like unlock the gameplay they want and tell us how they want to play through the campaign, this is exactly what I'm talking about here. We've got Horizon Baja, that's the home of cross-country racing. You unlock this, you unlock the cross-country racing. You unlock a ton of other gameplay opportunities as well. Not immediately with that, you'll have to kind of expand that outpost when you do. I can show you a good example. We've already built Horizon Festival Mexico. I mean, technically it was built when we arrived. We're not the architects of that. But let's have a look at the gameplay that's available there. So we've arrived at the festival site. We now have a nice tick for Welcome to Mexico. You've already seen and we took part in that amazing showcase On a Wing and a Prayer. Car versus plane, but with a twist. We know what the twist is now. And we can unlock a story called Vocho, which is finding and restoring a legendary car. Desperately not trying to.
Das ist aber interessant aufgebaut.
And the Goliath,
Ich bin mal gespannt, wie
right?
sich das dann wirklich spielt am Ende auch.
Without an epic, many miles long race around the map. So you can do all of that at the main festival. And each one of those we call a new chapter. So earning enough accolades unlocks a new chapter, and I can choose to kind of spend my new chapter. Like my new chapter is going to be Vocho, or it's going to be Goliath.
And the great thing about this is, as we talk about this Horizon adventure, it's that every player really will have a pretty unique path through this game.
Mike ist auch ziemlich leise heute gefühlt.
Like, so which festival site did you open first? And you might say you've opened up the Apex Festival and you've gone and got stuck into road racing, and that will shape the way your game plays out for a decent length of time after that. But maybe I go to the Wilds Festival and I've gone all dirt racing, and again, that makes that next hour, 2 hours of my game completely different to yours, and the opportunities that come after that, because then I could go and unlock different showcases.
Das ist ein bisschen wie bei The Crew 2, mit dem, je nachdem, wo du zuerst hingehen willst.
It really does lead to this really sprawling, different split path gameplay that means everyone's adventure through the campaign will be different to each other's.
Yeah, and not just based on kind of choice of I really like road racing or I like dirt racing, but there's different ways that people like to play games as well. Some people, they'll want to open Horizon Apex, and then because they're kind of a completionist, they'll be like, well, I'm doing all of the content there before I move on. Whereas some other people they'll open Apex, then they'll open Wilds, then they'll open Baja, then they'll open Rush. It's kind of giving people the freedom, and we deliver it with this awesomely cute, adorable map. So I think we're going to go on an adventure, and I think we're going to open a new outpost, right? That's the plan.
That's the plan, but we're not there yet. We have to get some accolades.
Yes.
Right, you mentioned accolades.
Oh, sehen wir das auch endlich mal, wie man das macht.
I'm sure Charlie doesn't know either. Tell us what they are.
I don't know either. Actually, no, I do know. So let's go through
Mike,
that. Right.
I hope you know what they are.
Yeah.
Hopefully someone here knows. Marco?
Hands up, I do know what accolades are. So, as you can see at the top of the screen there, it tells us how many we need to earn for our next chapter. So we're going to go into the accolades menu, and we are going to see tons of categories, and really
Ich habe keinen Plan, was das auf Deutsch heißt, das Wort da.
Accolades. Caveat here, we're not asking the players, and we don't expect players to complete every single accolade in the game. What we are saying is, whatever you like to do, there'll be a good collection of accolades for you. It might be that you like to do a bunch of racing, and you like to do some PR stunts and some skills as well. It might be that you like to do just kind of online stuff, and we've got a whole bunch of categories in there. That's the kind of beauty of accolades, and they extend beyond the campaign. So once you've reached the Hall of Fame, so you've unlocked everything on the adventure map, and you might think, oh, what else is there to do? Accolades are this beautiful way of having this collection of bite-sized challenges that let you kind of mop up the things that you still haven't done and just extend your game. And I think we'll extend it in the ways we have done with Forza Horizon 4, where we're delivering new content on like a weekly and kind of monthly basis. These will plug into this really well.
Yeah, so it's not super clear as we look at the
Finde ich aber interessant.
but that little blue bar that you can see just creeping up on the Welcome to Mexico tile there, that is actually a progress bar that fills up and completes the whole thing and completes that whole page. As we stand right now, about half an hour into our campaign, you can see that it's basically all zeros and we haven't done anything yet. And it does at the start of the game fill up quite slowly, but once you've put in that sort of 6 to 10 hours, these all start to get quite near the top, and you're like looking at that Horizon Stories one, going, oh, I've only actually got a few left there, and it's super compelling to just go and finish that off and push them up to the top and fill up those bars.
It's very Moorish.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great word for it.
So, Marco loves racing. Lives for racing. Marco fancies doing some racing. We'll have a look at racing.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Many locked accolades. And we need to go and build the Horizon Apex outpost. So let's go and do that. Welcome to Mexico is a nice small collection of kind of early game accolades. We have a few, like we've arrived at the festival. We can purchase a car from the auto show. We can also take part in a bunch of routes. If I select this one now, it will pin it to my HUD and set my route, and we can drive to go and do that. But before we kind of go back into game, I'm going to open the map just to explain that one of the main ways to play through a Horizon campaign is to go around and look at things on the map. And I think early campaign, we would expect many players to go through this is the kind of regular Horizon way. Map, piece of content, set your route there, take part in the content. What are you going to do next? Let's take part in this, and we'll go there and do it. But if I go back to free roam now, we can see that we have a pin, Horizon Mexico Circuit Rookie, complete Mexico Circuit, and I think we should head off and do it.
Let's go.
All right.
Take it away.
So Ben's put his controller
Gott, das ist asynchron, Alter.
with Marco's game, and let Marco do some driving as we enter the Horizon Festival.
Das ist richtig verwirrend.
I don't know why we're not playing the game footage, but it looks great, guys. I bet you wish you could see the Horizon Festival.
I wish you could see how wonderful this game looks right now. Oh, there we go.
There we go. We've actually driven straight through the festival. Marco, do you want to do a U? Let's show everyone. I think we're taking a second to get the feed up and running there.
I'm ready.
Oh, Marco's saying no. He's going into the race.
Should we?
He just wants to go.
But yeah, let's go look at the festival because we didn't really get a chance to look at it.
Well, at the festival.
Yeah.
Let's go.
There was a little blip in the stream there where we didn't get the feed up in time. So.
So which is the festival we're going to see then? This is the main one.
First look at the Horizon Festival Mexico, and it is without question our best festival yet. It's got some amazing features. It's got a drag strip running through the middle of it. It's got an awesome hangout car meet space, which is called the Horizon Tour. You can go out there, you can show off your cars, you can show off your cool liveries, hang out with other people and group up and go and do some racing. It's also built into an abandoned racing circuit. So all of this like sort of web of roads that you can see now is an awesome abandoned race circuit, or at least it was abandoned until the Horizon Festival arrived to breathe fresh life into it. And now, Marco, I'll let you do it now, Marco. If you want to go drive over to the start location for the Horizon Festival circuit.
You are released.
I'm gonna get through across the
Oh, ich dachte gerade, er bleibt hängen da dran.
That's the
Oh
only way.
Gott.
That's the best way.
Ich habe den Crash gesehen, aber ist einfach durchgefahren wie Butter.
The embankment.
It's a bit bumpy. There you go. Arrive there.
All right, and
I'm
here
ready
is our target. This is where we're going to go and get accolades so we can start our adventure.
Yes, so this I think is going to become probably people's favourite kind of test track. This is where you're going to come to check out your brand new tunes, check out all your new cars, really put them through their paces for at least, I would say, about half of the cars in the game. All of the cars that are focused on road racing, street racing, asphalt surfaces, you're going to bring them here to kind of really put them through their paces.
Are we ready? Can we see?
I think we're ready.
I think we're ready.
Yeah, I think we're ready. Any bets on where Marco's going to finish?
Well, he really struggled in rehearsal. So.
I know. Do we admit that our final?
Dieser Whitebody, das ist schon heftig.
Otherwise,
the way that we have set this up for the demo purposes, yes.
No pressure,
anything
guys,
less than a win will actually really ruin the rest of the show, Marco.
You did say you were better than Andy,
No pressure,
and
absolutely.
Andy won last stream, so I do think, you know, you owe us a win here, Marco.
I'm gonna try my best. So
as always, you are on a wheel. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah.
So, I think what we really did this time is actually investing and improving the wheel experience. And what we did is actually improving the handling and focusing on the force feedback code implementation to actually capture more details and create a whole new experience when you're driving with the wheel. And you can tell right now, I literally lost the back end, and the wheel told me immediately, and I could catch the car quite easily. By the way, I'm on simulation steering and traction control off, so just to make it a little bit tougher. And
ich hoffe, das fährt sich dann wirklich besser mit Lenkrad. Dann könnte ich vielleicht auch mit Lenkrad spielen. Hätte ich Bock drauf.
I feel connected with the road. I feel every single detail on the ground. And if I put a wheel on the off-road a little bit, oh, there you go. It feels immediately diverse. And that diversity is different across all cars, across all tires. And that's really important. Actually, really expand the experience and the engaging when you're driving with the steering wheel.
Oh Gott, ist er.
And now,
wir sehen auch wieder Autos, die bisher nicht gezeigt wurden, oder?
I'm still sixth, and apparently I've been told I got to win this race. So.
Ich glaube, es sind auf jeden Fall wieder neue dabei, die wir noch nicht gesehen haben. Also die halt in Forza 4 auch schon drin waren.
The braking have massively improved. So we're now basically calculating the brake force based on how big the discs are, how many pots there are on the brake disc system. If it's a disc, if a ceramic disc,
anscheinend,
cast iron, is a
also
drum disc.
ich habe es auch gerade so verstanden, dass die Lenkradunterstützung zumindest besser ist als vorher.
So modern ABS now, rather than completely cut off the brake when a lockup is detected, actually mitigate and like ease off the brake so you can still preserve some brake pressure and reduce the brakes distance. But these guys are really giving me a challenge, and
giving you a
I really need to close the gap. So now I need to focus, guys, because the Skyline ahead of me is definitely using some turbos.
Es wirkt zumindest besser als im letzten Teil, von dem was, also man muss halt selber ausprobieren, um es wirklich zu merken dann, aber sieht nicht schlecht aus.
I think there are a couple people in chat who are asking, you know, you personally, Marco, if you have a preference of just playing on this camera, because I think some of them would be keen for you to change it. Obviously, I want you to thrive the best way you thrive, but do you have a preference for this camera over the wheel over others?
I do, actually. I do prefer to drive from this camera. I think you have a better indication of what the car is doing, but you know, I follow many YouTubers. I'm sure they're following us right now. Bye. And yeah, I really actually, I'm impressed how guys you drive from follow cam, and yeah, touche.
Ja, Großbritannien ist halt relativ gleich alles.
These or the hood camera is actually another good option for driving with the wheel. You have you feel more connected with the car is doing.
Perfect. So you mentioned that you've improved the brake system. I have to ask, as someone who is sort of, I mean, when I play Forza, I'm very much on the off-road style of the racing and hooning around. So what improvements have you made to off-road handling?
Well, that actually is a very big topic. I think higher level, we improved both the suspension and the tires. For the suspension, we actually went to town and improved a lot about the preload spring force, but not only the progressiveness of the damper and the progressiveness of the bump stop as well. We actually have hydraulic bump stop and everything that actually goes in really low amount of detail for what concern the suspension for off-roading and rally as well. Another big improvement we've done to the off-road as a whole is actually we're now simulating the interaction with between the tires and all the different surfaces on the ground. That actually massively changed the way tires feel when you're off-road, depending on if you're on slick or if you're on rally tires or if you are on normal radial tires or bias ply. Every single tire's got a different reaction with the ground, and you can totally feel that through the pad, but now with the wheel as well.
Okay, TLDR.
And talking of reactions,
das Spiel kann mehr Details erfassen
so what does
und
that
fühlt sich dadurch besser an.
in the studios? Are we able to progress?
Well, we had to do a little cheat while we weren't showing the game there, but that's okay.
That's okay. Sorry, guys.
I just wanted to call it out.
We are, however, now all good, and we're in a position where we can start our adventure.
Perfect, okay.
So, I think we have a feeling where we want to go. There was a lot of talk about Horizon Apex and road racing. Yeah, so let's talk about how we build an outpost. So we don't just select Horizon Apex here and then it just gets added to the world and all the race events are there. No, what we do is we undertake what we call an expedition towards this festival. So here we go. This expedition for Apex is a Titel expedition, weather a storm on the road to Titel. So we're going to start this, and we're going to have an expedition become available to us, which we are going to take part in with a little bit of a surprise twist, ideally. But what is an expedition? It's a really nice combination of kind of story and showcase-driven cinematic gameplay, where you'll learn about the environment around you, you'll learn new things about Mexico, and kind of Ramiro will lead you towards the perfect destination for this outpost. So let's unlock that. And head back into World.
Ja, das muss man halt dann ausprobieren, wie man am besten dann competitive spielt, ne? Wobei soweit ich gehört habe, gibt's das Ranked so nicht mehr. Also es wurde irgendwie alles umgeändert, weil sie damit nicht zufrieden waren.
Marco's got about 4 miles to go to the start of the expedition.
It's going to take time.
I got tons of things I want to ask before we get there. So one thing I do want to know is, you know, it's a campaign, so you sort of have to ask the question of roughly how long you think the campaign might take for a player to finish. Obviously, I'm incredibly skilled, so I might be really, really quick. But what on average are we looking at?
So, because there are so many accolades, and you can do them in parallel, and earning accolades, as we kind of said, they control the speed of your experience. I think giving a really narrow estimate is difficult, but it's going to be somewhere between the 10 and the 20-hour mark for most players. There's 20 chapters to go through, so kind of 20 pieces of content, including the very end, the Hall of Fame, and they should take somewhere between an hour to half an hour each to unlock.
Interesting.
Okay, das kann man aber sicher auch langsamer spielen.
Accolades very quickly as well. I think it's worth calling out. There was so many in there, and I just want to be clear. Do you have to complete all of those to make it into the Hall of Fame, or is that more of a completionist style play?
Yeah, so you don't have to complete all of them. We don't expect players to complete all of them. Instead, our goal was to give... We wanted to make sure there were a good number of accolades for kind of every Horizon player, regardless of what you're into. So if you're into painting and you don't like a huge amount of the other content in the game, or it's not your kind of favorite, then there are a number of painting accolades. But we don't expect someone who never paints cars, who never kind of uploads designs or anything like that, to want to go and earn those accolades. It's fine if they do earn them. It's fine if you're the Horizon.
Ich möchte noch mal kurz anmerken, der Asynchronität ist den ihr Stream, nicht meiner.
You can earn the accolades that you want by doing the gameplay that you want, and that will give you enough currency to,
nicht meine Schuld.
to progress through the adventure, to reach those new chapters and unlock it in the order that you want.
And then you can go back and mop everything up afterwards, because all you want to do is keep playing.
Exactly. That's the really nice thing about accolades, is even when you've hit the Hall of Fame and you've unlocked kind of all of the like flagship pieces of content, so the stories, the showcases that Mike was talking about, the new outposts, accolades just, they make your job of looking at what's left in the game and deciding what should you do next really, really easy, because you might see a whole bunch of content and think, oh, I want to play some, but I don't know what to do. And then you look at accolades and it says, win all of this kind of piece of content over here, and you're like 90% of the way through, and that's like a really easy decision at that point.
Lovely.
Es wird auf jeden Fall interessant, die alles zu
Going
sammeln.
back to the exhibitions as well, what was the thought process behind sort of making those? Obviously in the last one in fall we had showcases and remixes and stuff like that, but this is obviously a natural step up from that. So what was it like working on the exhibitions?
That is an interesting question.
It stemmed from Mexico, didn't it? It was when we settled on Mexico as the host location. When you go and like, and this sounds a bit silly, when you go and like look at the tourist board website for Mexico, they really sell this idea of going on an adventure and going exploring and going and like living your next adventure in Mexico. That is a thing that Mexico as a country, Mexican people are really, really proud of about their country. And that was an experience that we thought, oh, how can we recreate that in the game? And we thought, well, we start off in one place of Mexico and we can kind of have people live out those adventures as they venture out into those different parts of Mexico. So yeah, there's a little bit of showcase in there, there's a little bit of Horizon story in there, but they are really their own brand new thing. And they are I think one of the most exciting bits of gameplay we've ever had. What's more fun about it as well is that, as with everything in the Horizon campaign, you can play it in co-op.
Ja, es gab genug zu tun, aber so von wegen storymäßig haben sie halt leider sehr wenig. Also seit dem ersten Teil ist das ja immer weniger geworden.
But here we go, Ben. I've invited you to a convoy if you want to join along. Marco's already in.
Ready, yeah.
I'm keeping this chat. You'd better be kind.
I should be along any second.
Here we go.
There we go.
We're doing it. All right, so that'll take a few seconds to spin up the server. But yeah, all content in the game is playable in co-op, all the campaign content at least. And unlike in Horizon 4, where getting into co-op with your buddies had some hurdles that you had to overcome in order to get there. We've really tried to make it so that you can play online, you can get into those online sessions as early in the game as possible. So you complete the initial drive that was on last stream, you complete that first showcase event, there's one Horizon story chapter you have to do after that, and then you're connected, you're playing online, you can team with your friends. It takes about,
das stimmt schon.
That's about 25 minutes.
Du musst halt eine Balance finden irgendwo auch.
And then you're teamed up, and from that point, you can team up with your buddies and take on the entire rest of the game together, including an expedition, as we are about to do right
Gut,
now.
wenn man an das Fast and Furious Spiel denkt, das war wirklich nicht so gut das letzte.
It worked perfectly in our rehearsal.
Absolutely, we'll manifest it. It's going to be great.
Do you know? I think it's worth mentioning, like previous Horizon games, the co-op is drop in, drop out, and it doesn't have kind of any effect on the campaign in terms of you don't have to worry about shared progress or anything like that. You can play with other players, you can drop out, do some solo stuff, and all your accolades and all your progress and all of that just kind of ticks along nicely.
Here we go. Oh God.
Away we go.
Away we go. Yes.
Now we're all going to have to pay close attention now, and there's.
Was macht das Flugzeug da?
I think for the most part, we're probably going to shut up for this and let the game do the talking.
Ja, das wird auch, also grafisch mache ich mir gar keine Sorgen, dass es gut aussehen wird. Es sind halt nur so Sachen wie bei den Stories standen die Charaktere einfach nur rum und da lief unten ein Text durch und der wurde halt vorgelesen. Und sowas könnte man zum Beispiel einfach noch ein bisschen schöner animieren, meiner Meinung nach.
That storm over there looks so mean.
You've got a question that we should be driving towards that.
Die Musik ist sehr episch. Ja, eben. Ja klar, man kann jetzt einfach mal kurz in den Sturm reinfahren. Mach ich auch in echt jeden Tag.
Oh no 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 no.
Die neue Map ist 50% größer. 50. Als die von Forza 4. Die Map wurde auch schon gezeigt vor kurzem, kann ich nachher nochmal zeigen.
Yo, yeah, absolutely. I saw that, Marco.
Okay.
Never better. Any landing you walk away from is a good one. I'm down next to some kind of blooded temple. I'll send them a flare. No one's been here in a while. Look, even the excavations are abandoned. An expedition to a lost city. Been discovered by you, Ramiro Luis Miron, and the
Und das Bild wurde schwarz, bevor er in die Wand gefahren ist. Der Sturm sieht aber sehr nice aus. Wie die Bäume hin und her wackeln, ist sehr geil.
Do not let me interrupt your Mesoamerican history lesson, my friend. You can come and get me when you're ready.
Achso, jetzt muss man in dem Areal Sachen finden.
So
Ne?
our first bit was obviously quite high octane. We were chasing Rami in his plane. We were heading out towards the jungles, but we found this ancient ruins site now, and we're heading out to have a little bit of a little moment to explore, to soak it in, to see what secrets we can find.
Stunning. Any eagle-eyed viewers will know that this is one of the ruins we went through in one of the very early episodes of these live streams as well.
Ich würde aber behaupten, dass es schon mal
Yeah, so I really like the change of pace in this.
mehr
It's one of my favorite
Kampagne
things about
als bei
these
Forza
exploration
4.
zones. I think they're just
Also was man
really
da am
nice,
Anfang
really soaking the
hatte.
atmosphere.
Das gefällt mir auf jeden Fall ganz gut.
Beacon is up and transmitting. Work.
Yes,
Now
we've
at
got
least
that list
someone
of
knows
challenges
where
on
we
the side
are.
of the screen there. They are optional. You don't have to do them if you just want to blast through and get back to the back to the drive, but definitely more fun if you do.
Ah, die muss man nicht machen, die links, diese Aufgaben. Diese optionalen. Klar, sind ja optional. Kann man sich denken.
Oh, I want to join in.
I mean, this is actually 6-player co-op, Charlie. So if you were in the building, yeah, we could have done it. We could have handed you a pad. Maybe next time we'll
fashion away, because I've not played yet and I'm absolutely desperate.
You want me to go through photo mode to take it? Yeah. We lined up nicely. Oh no, Marco's he's struggling. He's doing his own thing.
It's not that easy.
Ja, ich habe in letzter Zeit den Fotomodus deutlich mehr verwendet als früher.
Let's get this lined up nicely.
Seit ich meine Xbox Series X habe. Mein PC ist leider nicht der stärkste.
That's a great shot.
We should clarify that you should definitely not read anything into that number on screen right now. That is very much from a dev build and not a thing that you should read too much into.
Ich habe nicht auf die achso, Cast Photographed. Eins von 543, okay. Aber wenn er meint, das ist nur von einem Dev-Bild und nicht die offizielle Zahl, dann okay.
This music's stunning, by the way. The atmosphere that it's building is so nice.
Wow, Rami! I think I found one of the statues.
Don't touch it. It's very powerful.
I think we found another. My buddies, however, are elsewhere, so I'll...
I thought you wanted to get to the top of the central ruin. That's what you said.
I did. And then shiny things, Mike. Shiny things in the corner of my eye. You can't not go for shiny things. Oh, it told me to take a picture. Here we go.
Na, es werden in FH5 am Anfang mehr Autos sein als am Anfang von FH4, aber weniger als zum Ende von FH4. Es werden unter 700 Autos sein, aber mehr als 450, soweit ich das verstanden habe. Weil zum Launch von FH4 waren es, glaube ich, 450 Autos und werden mehr sein. Und dann kommt halt wieder jede Woche mindestens eins rein. Am Anfang zumindest.
So what's the next step then? Where do we go from here?
So we're collecting Rami, as we saw earlier on. You pick up the feed, guys, isn't it? The Rami had to take an emergency landing. We had to then go.
Gotta catch him all.
Kept him waiting a little bit while we.
Ich habe mit FH4 nicht mal alle.
Yeah, we went and picked him up and we carry on. I'm sure they'll be fine. That's nothing to worry about.
It's nothing for these cars, is it?
So we accidentally fell through that hole. We've landed in this little cave, this little cenote.
Yeah. It's gorgeous in here, full of atmosphere. I'm just going to have a little look around before.
Die Atmosphäre ist wirklich geil gemacht. Es wirkt sehr authentisch.
And we should know I have driving line off, and I am not the player to have driving line off. This is a recipe for disaster.
You should just follow us. You should just stop being so slow. And
but you can see each other.
Ja, ich bin nicht mal bei 350 oder so. Obwohl doch, ich habe mehr Autos, stimmt. Ich hatte gerade kurz einen Denkfehler, ich habe mehr Autos. Ich habe glaube ich 500 oder so.
Oh my goodness me.
Mal schauen, was jetzt passiert.
Achso,
der verlängert einfach immer die Route. Ja, es sind jetzt noch, ich glaube, 58 Tage, bis die Premium-Edition losspielen darf. Und ich werde das Ganze wahrscheinlich ab Release dann streamen. Also in 58 Tagen.
Oh wow.
Danke für den Follow, W. Heisenberg. Dankeschön. Danke.
There we go.
We have arrived.
You know, I I think this will be the perfect spot.
I think you're right, my friend.
Easy to forget the reason we did that was to open a new festival site.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, jetzt gibt es das neue
Loads of
Festival.
cool new accolades as well. That'll help us on the way to the next section.
Oh, und BSC Mono bekommen. Ja, sind auf jeden Fall sehr nice gemacht.
Here we go.
You made it. No thanks to Ramiro, no?
Die sahen auch im letzten Teil schon nice aus, es gab nur zu wenig davon. Die hatte man ja nur ganz am Anfang, diese Cutscenes, die gut, ne?
I love the plane. That was incredible. That was so... I see what you mean about it being like a step up from the showcases and it just being so much more than that.
Yeah, and I think the great thing about expeditions as well is that they are all completely different from one another. Each time you set on one, we're not going to spoil any of them right now, but each time you set on one, it's like you really have no idea what to expect. They're full of surprises, full of just absolute wow moments.
Nice.
Yeah, we are, I think, going to
Mach
try
mal
and
nebenbei was auf.
keep the lid on them from now on, and so that people can
Ich sehe
experience
das ja
them
nicht,
for
nee.
themselves when they get the game in November.
Sounds good. Got that first one to sort of whet our appetite. So what's... Is Marco up to something now then? Are we seeing anything else?
Yeah, I think we are now. So the reason we did that expedition was to build Horizon Apex. The reason we want to build Horizon Apex is we want to unlock a whole load of new road racing events and lead towards all of the kind of stories, showcases, finales that Horizon Apex comes with. So
Oh, da ist ein Spielerhaus auf der Karte markiert, neben dem Dragstrip.
Accolades in the road racing category. Why don't we, should we head back there and have a look at what's been unlocked, or should we go through the map? Because the two kind of ways you can play the campaign, really.
Ach Lust, das Offroad-Logo ist mit Kakteen in diesem Teil.
Circuit up on the east coast that I think we should go and find.
All right.
So
I think you've got control of Marco's
I
map,
do.
so,
I was looking at you thinking you had control, Mike, but I've got control. Right. I will set a route there and let Marco drive us along the way.
All right.
Es ist wieder ein verhältnismäßig langer Stream. Die ersten Let's Go Streams waren deutlich kürzer.
This wheel as well. Specifically, you know, you say that that's your desk, that you live in it. I feel like you're the expert to answer this question, but has the wheel experience and force feedback been improved?
Yes, it has definitely been improved, and it has improved as a consequence of working on the force feedback itself, but also looking at all the micro details that we were missing in terms of calculation of force feedback, and now we definitely like improved a lot in terms of what you feel through your hands. For example, now I'm driving on the asphalt right here, and while the surface actually feels a little bit bumpy, you can also feel some bumpiness coming through the wheel as well, because all the micro oscillation happening on the tire that gets transferred into the steering rack. That is actually really cool. It actually makes you feel connected with the road, but not only. The force distributed on the wheel, we're calculating all the alignment torque, so I can definitely feel what the car is doing, if I'm having understeer, oversteer. Everything, it feels so natural and intuitive and engaging.
Gut, dass ich das Spiel gerade nicht zeigen.
Amazing, I love it. I mean, we also, you're probably the guy to answer this question as well.
Ich habe noch ein Lenkrad hier liegen, aber das funktioniert nicht mit der Xbox, das ist das Problem. Es geht nur am PC. Logitech Driving Force GT. Das kam damals für PS3 raus, glaube ich.
It's really complex, but basically what we've done is actually mimicking everything that's happening on the real car. So when you change in the mode, you can basically switch from proper downforce, biting grip, with the correct front aero balance on the car, to a more relaxed cruising experience into the driving mode that you can switch to. That happens actually on the exact same time and sequence that the real car does. So we really went to town in terms of like capturing every single detail that the car in the real life do in terms of drive mode. It changes the experience, it changes the feeling, it changes the actual physics of the car, and you can really transform the.
Ich hoffe, das merkt man dann auch wirklich und nicht nur so ein bisschen.
And I'm going to ask again, because I think I've noticed in chat some people have turned up a little bit late. How dare you guys?
VR habe ich leider nicht, das wäre auch geil.
Aber ich
weiß nicht, ob mein Magen das aushalten wird. Es gibt ja Leute, die wird da schlecht bei.
Yes, so.
Whilst also trying to win this race.
Simple job, I'm sure.
I know. Really grilling you, aren't I?
Speaking of brakes. Anyway, no, the way the brake system has improved is actually now we looking at the brake system itself. As I said before, we have now like a more data-driven calculation for the brake system as a separate entity. It is like its own entity rather than calculating the grip as a result of the grip of the car, if you see what I mean. So as a consequence of that, and I think our fan will actually love it. Now when you go and upgrade your weak brake car, you see a much bigger jump with the upgrades, which is cool. You can really transform, you know, a bit meh car in terms of braking to a phenomenal racing car.
Was ich mich frage, warum bei diesen ganzen Sportwagen der Jeep mit in der Gruppe ist. Das ist, glaube ich, noch ein bisschen falsch.
Braking is more intuitive to drive. You can judge better the brake distance. You can ease off the brake and actually use the trail braking to let the car rotate a little bit more in towards the corner, and it's just better overall, and it feels nice, it's more fun, it's more authentic. So yeah, absolutely.
And you're making it look very good as well.
Now I'm trying to win as well.
Say.
So
I mean, Michael, Ben, can we get a little bit of context on what this race is that we're doing here, where it is on the map, also if anyone else has just joined us?
Yeah, so this is the Playa Azul circuit. It's just a little bit north of the festival that we just opened out on the east coast. It just cuts through the little village of Playa Azul here. It's this real tropical paradise out on the east coast of the map. It's an absolutely beautiful place. Now, how much does this just look like that? A perfect holiday resort. And it's got a really great set of
Gut, ich meine, ist auch ein Golf dabei. Der passt auch nicht unbedingt in die Klasse. Ist doch ein bisschen durcheinander alles.
While I was getting him ready for this, so yeah, I put him in the Super as well, which you might not have been expecting, but
wasn't expecting that, yeah. Supra is actually great fun to drive. It's more tail happy a little bit. Most traction control off, so everything makes a little bit more engaging.
And then I can add to that. Kind of Mike spoke about where this is geographically, how beautiful it is, and how fun it is to drive. Completely agree with all that. And in terms of gameplay, this we're enjoying the fruits of the fact that we did the expedition.
No, da wackelt was auch vor der Scheibe. Der Scheibenwischer wackelt so ein bisschen hin und her. Ich weiß nicht, ob man das bei mir im Studio noch sieht.
I think that's the thing I'm the most excited about.
Dass der Scheibenwischer so leicht hin und her wackelt bei schneller Fahrt.
Of Forza Horizon 4 at the moment, which, by the way, guys, happy to report I only have 8 achievements left in the whole game, and the drift ones are nearly done. I'm getting there. The idea of actually having a whole new map, but also with the addition of these accolades, it feels
so ganz leicht.
like I'm going to get this game delivered to me on November 9th, or earlier if you get the premium add-on bundle. And there's just so much for me to dive in and sort of access, but I can take it at my own pace and do what I want on any given day. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's a really good summary of it. If Mike doesn't mind me using a term he uses with me quite a bit when we're talking about the game kind of behind the scenes, snackable is the term we use, and that is really a very good way to describe the kind of campaign. It's really, really snackable. You can drop in, you can do a tiny piece of gameplay, which is like we're kind of showing here, one race, get a couple of accolades from that, maybe more if you've done some bonus ones while you've been driving, or you can kind of...
Filthy, Marco. Filthy.
That was dirty.
You got to do it, son. You got to do it.
Oh no.
Made it, see it.
Finde ich aber gut, wenn man so kleine Sachen machen kann. Ich bin auch keiner, der kurz mal 6 Stunden durchspielt, sondern ich mache immer so kleine Runden.
Snackable campaign,
snackable nature of campaign.
Earn a few accolades from completing and winning a race, or you can sit there and you can decide, like you were saying, Charlie, about you've got a handful of achievements left and then you're going to kind of complete everything. You could look at an entire category like racing or kind of skills and stunts and decide that's what I'm finishing this weekend, and I'm just going to sit down and kind of steadily go through them all. That might happen after you've hit the Hall of Fame. I think that's probably the way I would recommend that people play through the game.
Horizon 5, like Horizon 4, is a massive game with absolutely tons of features and content. And honestly, we don't really expect any one player to do it all. That isn't really how we make the game.
I will. Watch this space.
Well, I hope you do, Charlie. I mean, I probably will as well, but it's a regular player who's just downloaded it on Game Pass. We don't expect you to be sinking hundreds of hours necessarily to complete every single accolade in the game. But what we do hope is that every time you do play the game, even if it's only for 10.
Ich glaube, über die Zeit werde ich alles hinkriegen, außer das Designzeug und so, weil das kann ich gar nicht.
It was really fun, enjoyable. You felt you get some progress. You unlocked something new. You had a little bit of progress towards the next goal that you're working towards. I think a lot of games can, when they are massive games, can be quite intimidating. They can feel like you've really got to sing.
Ja, eben. Ich denke mir auch bei vielen Spielen, ich würde schon gerne spielen, aber ich habe jetzt keine Lust, so lange zu spielen. Ja. Und dann spielt man es halt gar nicht, weil keine Lust, so lange zu spielen.
Now, I think this is a really good segue, actually, talking about progress. So we've touched on the campaign. We've seen literally a couple thousand of the accolades that you have at the moment. And we've even dived into some Horizon Festival sites. But I wanted to bring up the car collection screen before we move on to the Q&As. A reminder, we are coming up to the Q&A, so make sure your questions are in chat now if they aren't already. So what is the car collection screen?
Before we go, any questions for Marco? Throw them at him. Any physics questions, handling questions, anything at all, go deep as you like. So we are now looking at the car collection. So as we think about the campaign, we've talked about the kind of initial experience, the accolades, the adventure. All of that stuff carries you through the game from hour 1.
Da fehlen auf jeden Fall welche, oder? Wir hatten noch nicht nur 22.
But as I just mentioned, some people are going to play the game for hundreds of hours. Some people are going to set out to try and unlock all of the hundreds of cars that are available in Forza Horizon 5. And for those people, the car collection is the perfect place for them. You're getting a look at it now. It feels a bit like a sticker book or card collection.
That's a great vibe, actually.
Each card is represented by each car is represented by one of these little cards, and as you add that car to your garage, you'll see it flip over and get added into your collection. Each of the manufacturers as well also has a reward associated with it. We've skipped past it now, but with Nissan, for completing all of the Nissans, there was an exclusive Nissan that you can unlock for completing them all. We're now looking at Porsche, and again, I think we'll if we just click through these and unlock a few of them, you can see there is a exclusive Porsche that can be unlocked there as well. Also, a cool feature of the car collection screen is that you can just hit Y and purchase a car with a click of a button. And just like that, you have spent 1.5 million credits. Be careful.
Ich will das könnte ich in echt sagen. So kurz mal 1,5 Millionen Dollar rausgeworfen.
As I say, this is it's a lot of fun throughout the game, but it really comes into its own really late game. Once you've sunk in loads of hours and you've got loads of cars already, you go into this screen and just as you look at Porsche there's only 3 that you need to complete the set. It's so compelling to just add them all to your garage and get them all. And then
das ist eine interessante Forza Edition von dem 911 GT3 RS. Das ist ein Offroad-Umbau oder Rallye-Umbau.
I'm certain chat is... Yeah, I was going to say, but it's one very important one here, actually, because the chat, I can just see at the corner where I was burning at me. Fans have obviously been very, very eager to see a car list. So is there any update on when you'll actually be able to share that?
Sure, yes. So obviously you just got to see a load of cars there, and I'm sure everybody will be scrubbing back through that and scribbling down for their notes. Another place you can go to find out about cars that are coming to the game is our social channels. So you can go to @Forza Horizon on Twitter and @Forza Horizon Official on Instagram. You go there right now. I think we're dropping updates today. There'll be loads of new cars getting announced, and then these streams are also a great place to come.
Ja, ich wette, wir kriegen die Nissan-Car-List dann gleich, weil die wurden ja gerade gezeigt.
Check out these streams. That's where you'll find out all the latest information on the cars that are coming to the game. But it is my understanding that a lot of cars are about to be announced over on those social.
Verdammter Sammeltrieb. Ja, es ist wirklich so, man will alle haben. Vor allem jetzt, wo man diese Liste da hat, wo man alle einfach direkt kaufen kann. Okay, Fragen.
Up first, we're going to take the questions from chat that you've been sending over today, and the first one comes from Smolko High. It says, "Hey, can you tell us if clothing items will still be in wheel spins?"
That is a great question, Smolko High. So the answer is...
Sorry if I'm butchering that.
The answer to the question, the short answer is yes. The longer answer is yes, but you will now be able to purchase all common and rare clothing items with credits. So there is effectively a clothing shop where you can go and buy some beautiful.
Das heißt, man kann die immer noch im Wheelspin drehen, aber man kann einfach alle Klamotten kaufen und dreht man die nicht mehr.
Festival playlist or other such activities.
Perfect, cool. So the next question from chat comes from the Cockney Charmer, who says, what has been your favourite car to drive on your favourite road so far in Forza Horizon 5? And this goes to the room. Any of you can answer this one.
I think we should let Marco lead on this one.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I think the circuit is actually phenomenal, and you can really bring like any car especially road car, I think is really, really good, especially when you get into driving S1 and S2 class car. It's really, really good fun. And also it's really good for drifting. You can really connect all the corners right there and actually create a proper drift. So go for it.
Wonderful, very good. Next question from chat comes from Elite Sergio, who says, is Abraham, in brackets voice actor, working on the Spanish version of the game too?
What a great question. Yes, he is. So Abraham Vega he provides the English/Spanglish language version of the character, and also the Spanish version of the character in the Mexican Spanish and regular Spanish versions of the game.
Yep.
Wonderful. Lovely.
Okay.
Next
jetzt für
question
uns
from
nicht so
chat is from
interessant.
Kyle Fed, who asks, are weekly weather changes coming back? I think we've answered this one on a previous stream, but it's always good to reiterate.
Wurde schon mal beantwortet, definitiv.
You're right to say answered this on previous streams, and the answer was yes. Seasons will still change every week, and with that, so will the weather and the world around you.
Perfect, lovely. The next question comes from JLMC McDowell, who says, will barn finds be more complex or harder to find? And will there be more of them, or will there be other exploration challenges? It's a few questions in that one. They've really packed it in.
A real multi-layered question.
Yeah, there really is.
I can, right, I'm trying to remember the questions. It sounded like, will barn finds be more complex or harder to find?
That's the one.
To answer that honestly, you'd have to kind of ask the person, how hard did you find the original ones in the
Yeah,
first
that's a
place?
bit subjective, right?
I think it's fair to say that we're not. Barn finds are a really nice feature, and we're never planning on making that more complex in the beauty of finding a kind of amazing old car hidden away in the world.
I would say a slight twist on it this time is that a few of them unlock in different ways. So
True,
one of them you unlock as part of a Horizon story. If you're paying close attention, you'll have noticed that during that expedition, as it was Ben who we were following at the time, as he took that jump off the top of the temple, he had such a view over the jungle that he was able to spot a barn, and that gets added to his map. So when we finish that expedition, you can then go back and find that one. And there's
Krass, habe ich nicht drauf geachtet.
I guess interesting discovery criteria to give it a really bland and dev-sounding term.
Which is a really, that's a really interesting way to talk about it, because I guess I didn't factor in the fact that actually getting the kind of barn find rumour to spawn is part of the difficulty. So yeah, in some ways more complex, more fun and more interesting overall. And now with us chatting about that, I've completely forgotten the rest of the.
There are lots of barn
That's what
finds.
I'm here for, my darling.
We won't reveal them all. We'll keep some Emma secrets, and I guess that I don't know what other questions you asked, but yeah, that's.
I think that's good. I think we've got a
November
good
9th,
answer
there.
there. Come back to another stream if you want us to answer the second half of that question, my dear. The next question does come from Even One, who says, how close can you make the game feel like a sim, or do you consider it to still drive as an arcade/simcade-like game? Sorry if you've answered this already.
Yes, that's for me.
It is for you. Shall I? Do you want to direct me? Do you want to direct me to that screen you wanted to show people?
Yeah.
Is it in there?
Yeah, no,
Oh, you can.
can I pick that?
Yeah, go on. If we can bring up the feed again, Marco has some steering wheel nerd stuff to show people.
Yeah, so actually, once you've...
It's a nice intro.
This is the way I was driving, so yeah, ABS is still on, but the steering is simulation. Actually, simulation for me on the steering, it feels much nicer, and yeah, you feel more attached, you feel less, you feel more responsive from the car, and you're more in control with the car. Traction control off just because it's more fun, and shifting manual just because, yeah, don't really have a shifter right here for now. But let's go through the new slider that we've added so you can actually customize the way the force feedback and the steering wheel works. So we've added...
kannst du mir einstellen.
Let's go save... Continue. Settings, I think. There you go. Now I'm in with the steering. There you go. So, as we're turning, we always have the force feedback scale, the center spring scale, the damper scale. That hasn't changed at all. But we now changed the way the mechanical trail. So this one actually allows you to tune up or down the suspension component of the force feedback, so you can feel more at the back end or the front end. It depends what you like. Depends what you're doing. If you're drifting, just go up. And then we actually added the minimum force. Now the minimum force basically enhances a little bit the lateral force from the tires, so you feel a lot more, especially in the center point of the steering wheel. Then we have the load sensitivity, so you can tune up or down the maximum lateral force that gets sent to the force feedback, so you feel more force when you're at the peak of the grip. But ultimately, the road feel actually is split into two parts. Is the road feel for when you're on an asphalt,
auf jeden Fall gut,
and
mehr
off-road
einstellen
feel
kann.
for wherever you are off-road. So you can really go down and tune every single aspect of the driving experience on the steering wheel.
Blimey, that's very intense. I hope that answered your question, Even One. I think I was blooming brilliant. And the last question from chat that we will share before we dive into the Dear Forza ones, and I can't believe I'm going to say this name on stream, but here we go, everyone. Big Chungus wants to know, how many players are on one online server?
That is That is a really complicated question because we've not talked about this so much actually, but we have completely overhauled the way the Horizon Life servers work. So whereas in Forza Horizon 4 you were connected to a server with up to 71 other players to make 72 in total, it's a bit different now. You actually connect to everyone at the same time. And I didn't rehearse a good answer for describing how this fairly complicated system works. But it's much more MMO-like, so everyone now connects to the same server, and as you're traveling around, you'll be much more likely to run into people much more often. Everywhere feels, or as appropriate, places feel more packed full of people. We can tune how likely it is that you bump into other people based on whether an area should feel full of life, like a city, or it's out in the jungle where we might want to tune down that density of players.
Das ist interessant. Ich bin mal gespannt, wie das läuft dann.
And as you move around, you'll be bumping into people all of the time. You can team up with people, and you'll lock together and make sure that you always stick together as we did earlier when we were playing in co-op. But as you're moving around the world, much like in an MMO, you'll be constantly bumping into different people all over the world.
Lovely, that's a brilliant answer. Well done for not.
Das heißt, alle am selben Server, aber man sieht nicht alle Leute gleichzeitig, weil das wäre ein bisschen overload.
Over on Twitter, which if you have missed it, make sure you go follow the social channels now, as we said, for the car list as well. So the first question comes from Roby, who asks, is there a radio station in Spanish? Just like in Forza Horizon 2, we had one in Italian and they loved it, by the way.
Jetzt guck mal, sie die schon lachen, bevor sie antworten.
I can't take it.
Sorry, Mike. So the question was about there being, is there a radio station in Spanish, as we had in Forza Horizon 2, and having different language radio stations? And the answer is we have a huge kind of Mexican influence across the radio stations. We don't have an entirely kind of Mexican radio station, but we have music all across. I think it's really, really good. Like, brilliant representation throughout, and we also have an artist, a Mexican DJ. Can I let you kind of talk about her a bit more?
Mexican-American Angelica Garcia. She is one of the artists on Horizon XS, and she is also the DJ of that station as well. So yeah, every single station has music of the Mexican diaspora infusing it, but there isn't a dedicated Mexican station.
Brilliant, I love that. I think that's really cool.
Das ist echt ein verdammt langer Stream, ist gleich eine
You're going to
Stunde.
be set on fire here. It's the one you all want to know. All right, everyone sit down, strap yourself in. So Bjork-et wants to know, will we be able to experience the diverse atmosphere of Mexico with a demo?
Mexikanischer Techno.
So, whilst we are dedicated to building the biggest and best Horizon game ever, we will not be releasing a demo. We will be sharing loads more info on the game over these streams.
Oh, keine Demo diesmal.
And whether you're playing on Xbox, on PC, on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox One X, we will be releasing footage of all of those in the coming weeks. But for those people who do want to get their hands on the game and do want to experience it, then it will be on Game Pass across all of those platforms.
Ja, ich meine, man kann sich einfach Game Pass für €1 holen und dann ausprobieren.
So the next
von
question
daher.
comes from Donja One Song, who I've seen in chat, on Twitter and in chat, my goodness. And they've said, A, in the VIP pass, one of the items you get is called vanity items. What exactly is a vanity item? And B, they want to know if they can appear on the show and create events using Event Lab, #worth a shot.
So yeah, in VIP it does come with some vanity items. That is some exclusive clothing, emote, and there's a car horn as well. More details on exactly what that is later. There was again another multi-layered question there from Donja One Song.
Ich habe halt schon den Game Pass und werde einfach das Premium-Add-on dann zuholen, dass ich direkt am 5. spielen kann. Es kostet dann €45 und dann hast du die Premium-Version.
One of the cool things we'll be doing this time around is taking some of those great creations and then delivering them to all players through the festival playlist. So when people make amazing experiences, races, game modes, we will then package those up and then deliver them to everybody else, so that as well as the cool stuff that we make, the cool stuff that you guys make can get delivered to everybody as well. So
ja, 45 ist echt okay. Das Problem ist, normalerweise kostet die Premium-Edition ja 100, wenn du das komplette Spiel kaufst. Aber wenn du es halt nur im Game Pass machst, also wenn du die Game Pass-Version hast und dann noch Premium dazu holst,
what are kudos going to be used for? Are kudos going to be like Forza-thon points?
No, Forza-thon points still exist. That is still what you get for completing Forza-thon challenges. Kudos are a social currency which you can earn for being one of the very coolest and socialist people in the Forza community. There's a bunch of opportunities where you help other players.
ja, es ist schon sehr teuer. Das ist halt leider Standard heutzutage.
One of the examples is
Wobei Forza schon immer so viel gekostet hat, gefühlt.
If I'm searching for a barn find and I'm in that barn find area trying to find it, then I might get linked the option to say, hey, does anyone know where this barn is? I can press that and then maybe Ben's already found the barn, and he'll go, yeah, I know where it is. That gives me a clue on my map as to where it is, and because he's helped me out, I can go, thanks, using link, and then it'll give Ben a kudos.
Interessant, okay.
Related to that, on that barn find one, once I've discovered that barn, a new feature
Forza ist halt für mich so ein Spiel, das will ich direkt am Release spielen. Es gibt wenige Spiele da, aber das schon.
I can then go and create a barn find
Oh
of
Gott,
my own.
ich raste gerade ein bisschen aus, keine Ahnung warum.
So I can take one of the cars from my garage, I can paint it, I can apply an upgrade preset, and then I can.
Oh, jetzt bin ich ungeduldig. Ja, geht mir genauso.
A gift to another player, maybe someone who's just joined the game.
Oh.
And then when that person receives it, maybe they think, that was really cool, that guy's really nice, I'll give him a kudos. And then I get one kudos point as well. So it acts as this kind of social currency that rewards players for doing really cool things for each other within the community.
Okay.
Oh, that's lush. I love that. Very nice. Okay, next question comes from Bastian Harney, who says, hello. My question is about the props we can place in Events Lab. Are there racing theme props, like maybe curbs or similar things? That would be really nice for us racing nerds who want to make nice tracks for track days.
Yes, Bastian Harney, there are. So we kind of first dabbled in this stuff in Super 7, in Forza Horizon 4, where all the props that we gave you were really geared around making like big stupid jumps and stunts and stuff. This time around we've massively expanded the number of props. I don't know the exact number. Do you know it? Lots.
Not off the top of
Loads. But it does include all of that stuff that internally we call racification, which is a word that we made up to describe all of the stuff that kind of makes a race a race. So all of the barriers, flags, chevrons, grandstands, all that stuff that turns a bit of road into a race will now be in there that you can go and place yourself to create your own cool races all over the world.
Wonderful. And the last question from Twitter is from Rich Dyer, who says, my 11-year-old son, Kai, asks, will there be any cutscenes in the game? And a secret second question as well. Will there be a definitive ending to the story mode of the game? He's a big fan of the show and would love a shout out. Hello, Kai.
Hello, Kai. That was a very interesting question for an 11-year-old.
It's very mature.
Will
I
there be a
love it.
definitive end to the game? I think your dad's added that one, hasn't he?
He's flourished somewhat.
So will there be cutscenes, I think was the question. Yes.
Yes.
The game opens with a really cool cutscene that kind of introduces you to Mexico. There is a cutscene when you arrive at the festival for the first time, which we actually cut out when we ran through it last week. But that introduces you to all of the main characters, such as Ramiro and Haley and Alejandra. And then as you're playing through things like Horizon Stories, Expeditions, there are like 100 more. Yeah, there's loads.
Wow.
There are loads more. And will there be a definitive end to the game?
I can take that
yeah,
one if you like.
Go on.
Yeah. Just heading back to cinematics, we saw some really amazing ones in the expedition that we were running through earlier. If you haven't watched them, rewind and watch the rest of the show because it's really good. Definitive end, I think the real answer is no. There isn't a point at which the game goes kind of roll credits, you've finished. There is the goal of the campaign. We said it's reaching the Hall of Fame. But when you get to that point, there's still loads to do. There's all the accolades, there's loads of content still.
Ich meine, die Story ist halt irgendwann vorbei, aber du hast ja trotzdem noch die Open World.
And the new things will deliver after the game launches in the way that we've kind of done in the past. All the cool stuff that we add on. So I think, long story short, definitive end, no. Yeah,
No
we'll go with no.
Yeah, and I would repeat as well, we don't really expect any one person to do all of that stuff. We make probably thousands of hours of stuff, and I think that you should really feel that you just pick your way through that. Pick the things that you love to do. Festival Playlist this time has like loads more discovery stuff. There's treasure chests in there and things like that. So even if you're not much of a racer, there's loads of things in there to keep coming back week after week and give you like explory things to do in the world or things like that. So there's something for everyone.
Wonderful. And talking about coming back week after week, that's the end of the show. So you'll have to come back to another one to find out what we're talking about next. You can also keep up with all the latest Forza Horizon 5 news, updates, and details on more Let's Go live streams in the future by following Forza Horizon socials channels. We've said it a couple times. You really should go do it. And please tune into the Forza channels tomorrow for Forza Monthly for all the latest news on the Forza universe. But for now, thanks so much for tuning in for today. We will see you next time. Adios.
Ich hoffe, das ist richtig im Moment. Ich muss mal kurz die Musik muten, so. Geht das? Nein, es geht nicht. Okay, Moment. F11. Zack. Zack. Da ist die Map. Die gibt es auf Twitter, wurde, glaube ich, im vorletzten Stream schon gezeigt oder so. Ich weiß es nicht mehr. Ich glaube im vorletzten Stream. Genau. Aber das war's auch für heute für den Stream. Ich bedanke mich fürs Zuschauen. Lasst gerne noch ein Follow da, falls ihr das noch nicht getan habt. Und dann sehen wir uns hoffentlich in einem nächsten Stream wieder. Ja, schönen Abend noch. Ciao, ciao.